You know, Luds, I always feel bad for guys who have birthdays around Christmas because it always feels like you get a little shortchanged, right? You have your birthday, your parents try to come up with a good present, and we're having Christmas in a few days. It's tough, right? You need a couple months buffer to really separate the events. Well, tonight, I don't think Jake Oettinger got a great birthday present.
It's funny how you say short-changed. Short of that is the word chain. He got the chain around his neck yanked tonight. Hard.
He did. Tough one for the Oettinger and the Stars. They lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Let's talk about bad birthday presents next, right now.
My. Scooter Boy.
Did you guys see that? Can you play that again, John?
Absolutely. We can play it as many times as we want.
DLLS Dallas Stars
Watching, you really need to be.
Right there. It's the only time I've ever gone to the left of that street light, the little post that has the crosswalk signs on it. And there's a couple of bricks that are gone in the sidewalk. Usually I go to the right because it's smooth. And for whatever reason, I went left, and there's a hole there. And I went, oh, boy, I hope I didn't ruin a tire.
All right, you got your little helmet on. You're good to go.
Yeah, I was safe. But there I am, zipping along.
I wanted to give people something to smile about tonight, so we thought we'd play that off the top.
Actually, very nice. So honestly, I don't care how ridiculous I look in a suit with a bike helmet and everything. One, I'm safe. And two, I'm in my 40s, so you stop caring.
See,
Three,
right now, though,
efficiency.
Right now, if I were watching that, I'd go, wait a second. Did you say in a suit? They probably can't tell you're wearing your suit and tie.
See, roll it one more time.
Yeah, one more time. You can't tell that you have a suit
like a jacket,
and wait,
it?
And you got your little bag over your shoulder too.
Crossbody, you got the laptop computer bag strapped.
I don't know. You are smack in the middle of that intersection, and you and I walking out of here have seen some people driving the wrong way down that one way many a times.
We have indeed.
You are asking to be T-boned on that thing.
To be fair, John, the bike lane actually is between. It comes. There's a bike lane there. They actually bring you out into the middle between the turn lane and the straight lane. So I was following the correct street laws to take that turn and then into a sidewalk. It was something, wasn't it?
And I stood there for about 5 minutes with the camera waiting for you. And then I almost walked away, and I'm very glad I didn't because we got that gem.
Or what? All right, let's get right to it.
Let's get right to it. 4 minutes after.
Let's get to it now.
Minutes of
you got to get the clothespins
film
now and the playing cards and put them in the little wheels so you can sound like a little motorcycle coming.
Just a little. Brrr, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? You can hear my little bell.
Yeah.
The Stars got off to a really good start tonight. Remember, we talked about in the pregame show that they had not won in their last 6 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 4 wins in their last 22. So it's been an uphill battle in the head-to-head. Fortunately, tonight, as you see by the final score, it's now stretched to 7 and 4 wins in 23, which is worse. But they did score first tonight, and one of the guys and one of the lines that was outstanding was the Stars' 4th line. And Sam Steele got it going early, Luds, with a really nice goal just after the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, it started with a big save by Jake Oettinger, and he had some work to do. We drew a little artwork here by John. He's figured out how to use the arrows. This to me has got to be a read by the young Bischel. It's right here. It's a 2-on-2, and as it enters a line, Bischel starts to turn, and he's going to take one guy, and he ends up ultimately turning his back. Now, all of a sudden, right away, there's a quick 2-on-2, and I think that's who was that? Labushkin? I think Labushkin there. No, that's Petro. Well, anyway, doesn't matter who it is.
The other defenseman?
Yeah, I'm talking about the other defenseman.
So it's got to be Petrovic because right-handed. There's only two.
And I think, and what he does is now he turns his back. So all of a sudden,
actually, that looks like, is that a forward?
This is your man on man. That's a righty. So it's either Petro or Labushkin, right?
And then there's the forward right there.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, you can see both defensemen have their backs turned, and now in walks for a clear shot. And this is the big save that Jake needed to make, and he did make it. And from here, it was the save, and then Stankoven kicks it up to Steele. And then Steele just outraces Matthews, who's not a speedster, but it was really the finish on it, right? I mean, he comes in and short side high on Woll. I think Woll thought he was going to probably pull it across and go across in front of him.
Gave a little lean to his right just to make the goalie open a little, and then to roof it from that tight end.
It was a great shot. And by the way, that was just the beginning of his night. I mean, his whole game, regardless of what happened after, Sam Steele and Blackwell, they were both great tonight.
Blackwell was fantastic tonight. He had a couple of chances early. I just liked his game overall. He had more in the second period. But 59 seconds after Sam Steele, the man of steel right there, right after he scored, Toronto answered. And Razor kept talking about it on the broadcast. When I got back for the third period, I could hear him talking about it a couple of times. The quick response by the Leafs to Stars goals. And Domi did it 59 seconds after Steele.
You know, where it started was there's a bouncing puck that Brendan Smith is trying to trace down, and it's right at center ice. I think in that situation, you probably just want to bat it right into the zone right from there. It looks like a tennis ball bouncing around. I think he tries to settle it down at the last second and hops over a stick, and Domi comes in, and the seas kind of part there. And again, that I don't know if you want to say that's a good shot, or I don't know if Jake had an opportunity to save that. But there were a couple sticks laying around in front of him, too. A couple guys were reaching for it, regardless. But Max Domi finally gets his second goal of the year.
Yeah, he has not been very prolific in the goal-scoring department. We've seen him play with Dallas before and be very effective with Tyler Seguin, of all people, right?
Yeah.
That was, again, Seguin seems to make people better, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Well, right after that, Maverick Bourque steals the puck, gets a wide-open shot in slot. High-danger chance. Joseph Woll, look, we're going to talk about this a bunch. He gave up 3. He's made some huge saves tonight. That was a big one. And then a minute or so later, Bourque gets drilled into the boards by Pacioretty. I thought the method of contact, Pacioretty kept his arm tucked in, hit him with the shoulder, was clean. The question was, Luds, was Bourque in a vulnerable position because of being a couple feet off the boards, or is that just a good hit?
This is hockey, and it's fast, and you don't know that he's going to be in that vulnerable. And again, I think Pacioretty, not a dirty player at all. I think he kind of recognized, too, he was just finishing his check. And I think the way that Maverick turned, and he kind of got a little bit sideways when he gets hit. And I think Pacioretty just kind of follows through with his check. And it was funny because the stick, actually, because Patch has got both hands on his stick, and you see his helmet pop off. And then his helmet is kind of pushing the helmet into the bench. But it was a hard hit, but it was nice to see Bourque gets up, gets on the bench, brushes the hair out, got the hair flying in the face, and he gets out there next shift. It was nice to see him get an opportunity tonight up there with those two guys on that top line.
Did you see Rope Hintz on his way to the bench for a change, see that hit, turn around and beeline to Pacioretty and unleash a vicious two-hander?
Yeah, I mean, that's what teammates do.
For it.
And especially with a young player. I mean, you're trying to send messages to the players, and especially the young guys, that we got your back, and we know that you took a hard hit and you got up and you kept on ticking. But, it's good. The good news is he didn't get nothing called there.
The question is, you mentioned Bourque playing on the top line. What did you think about his game playing with Robertson and Hintz? I know they went into the blender as the game went on.
That unfortunate. I don't think he got a steady diet of it tonight. He didn't look out of place, but I don't know if he's the answer, if that's what you're asking. And the only way we're going to know if he's the answer, he needs more than one kick at the can there. So
it's 1-1. And look, the Stars didn't score again. Brendan Smith actually had the next high danger chance later in the period. He gets open on a nice pass forward down the left side, goes to the net, makes a little move. Wall stones him. Really, if Brendan Smith scores that, the place goes bonkers. Yep. It would have been great. By the end of the period, by the way, the Stars, that cross-check by Hintz that got penalized, nothing for the Leafs. The penalty kill was flawless on that one. Stars get a power play late, couple of chances. End of the period, Luds. I had the high dangers at only 3-1. Not that big of a difference for the Stars, but scoring chances overall were 16-2 Dallas, and the shots were 15-4. Stars were completely in control of this one, but 1-1 on the score sheet.
And you're wondering when they went in to the locker room, feeling they should feel good about themselves. Like you said, they controlled the game, they controlled the period for the most part. And what's the conversation? Like it's not good enough. We got to give more. I mean, it's a big game for a certain night. So
not more of the same. Like, hey, we'll get this if we play like this.
No, you know what? I think you got to try to give more.
They weren't giving anything middle ice to the Leafs at
right.
all.
They were in a good spot, and the Leafs were frustrated.
Yeah,
there was frustrated, and there were times when I saw the Leafs were opening up and gave the middle of the ice, which is totally against what we talked about in the pregame show with Berube coaching. So, but one team got it together in the second period.
They sure did, but it actually started out really well again for the Stars as Evgeny Dadonov scored just 22 seconds into period number 2. It's his 8th of the year. This is just a beautiful little move by Dadonov to catch the puck, go to his left, and then he did a little sort of drop fake just to throw everybody off and then roofed it.
Well, what he does is with his stick, he pulls the puck in towards his feet, and Morgan Riley, who's the defenseman that's playing the one-on-one, that's when Morgan takes his stick and he pulls it into the area where Dadonov made the first move, and then by the time Dadonov got it out there to his forehand, he can't catch up. Riley can't get a stick on it, and then he just beats Wall with it.
So it's a 2-1 Stars lead. First lead of the game, building going crazy, and then we have Mason Marchment getting cross-checked by Connor Timmins, standing and then at the blue line, and then Logan Stankoven came in like a little bullet and drilled Timmins and knocked him off his feet. I really liked that. But the crowd was really upset in the arena because they felt there was a penalty there. You weren't so sure.
Nope. That's what I said. News travels. And I said this last game or 2 games ago. Mason does a good job a lot of times of selling that, and he gets the call on it. But as the year goes along and news will travel about guys that embellish a little bit here and there. And I don't think he had to sell it, but I think right at the last part of that, he sold it a little bit too much, and it was probably, no, we're not giving that to you.
Well, he has been called for embellishment before in the playoffs. He's been fined before. You start to wonder, the referees union does not keep quiet. They talk.
Yeah, for sure. They
reputation
know.
there.
They go into games knowing who those players are, and there's a lot of players that are worse than Mason Marchment, and I think the tough thing for Marchment is he's such a big guy that a lot of times you would expect that whatever it may be really shouldn't knock him off his feet. The ones that really get the referees and linesmen's attention is the ones where there's a stick that kind of just phantomly goes by your face or by the mask, and you sell it like that. And sometimes it's just too much. And the linesmen, referees, who's ever going to make a call, if it's a major or not, they don't want to be embarrassed by those kind of things when they have to look back at them.
After that, Colin Blackwell had 2 chances in a row. He had a nice tip play at the crease from Lyubushkin, then got his own rebound and stuffed it. He was hunting the net a lot. So was Sam Steele. Roope gets a breakaway. Deeks goes to his right, and Wall makes a huge save, as we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. That was a big turning point between that and the goals that we'll get to.
Yeah, I think the way that Wall kind of comes out on him, that seems to be his method on the breakaways, is he wants to come out and he almost wants to lunge at him, and it was tough for Roope to get that puck elevated.
Stars have constantly gotten Roope Hintz behind defenders, whether it's breakaways or just sneaking in late in the offensive zone. But the amount of finishing sometimes isn't where you'd like to see it, just because he seems to get those every night and doesn't always score those.
Yeah, but he has been on fire, though, so to speak. I mean, he's been lighting it up when he gets his opportunity. This was a nice one here. But again, sometimes you just got to give the goaltender credit.
And Wall was very, very good tonight for the Leafs. Up next, let's talk about the turn of the tide. Stars were up 2-1 at this point in the second period. Here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
First, Little Herman Marshall, founded in 2010, Dallas County's first legal distillery since the repeal of Prohibition. Located in historic downtown Wiley, Texas, Herman Marshall is proud to partner with the Guns N' Roses Foundation of North Texas on a single-barrel expression of its signature straight bourbon whiskey. The Guns N' Roses Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance to the families of fallen police officers and firefighters lost in the line of duty. They're built from the grain up through family, fellowship, and friends. So, for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. So stop into your closest goody-goody liquors and other fine retailers.
Let's talk about Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means, excuse me, when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. Last-minute shopping, not sure what to get your friend, your family, your children, loved ones? How about tickets, sporting events, concerts, music? Well, I already said concerts. How about comedy shows, theater? Use Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You go to the app, you find what you're looking for, the big marquee events, and you get good deals, all in pricing, so you don't get surprised with fees when you check out. You can even get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Luds, what time is it?
Game time.
All right, back to the show. As we were just at the 2-1 Stars in the lead, completely dominating. And at that point, Luddy, I had 0 second period chances at that point for the Leafs. Now, again, that was about, I'd say about 4 minutes in. Then it changed. 2 goals in 16 seconds. First, William Nylander gets behind the D, close range, one-on-one. Nice little pass by Auston Matthews to get him into space, and he roofs one on Oettinger. And then on the very next shift, Nick Robertson, the younger brother of Stars forward Jason Robertson, scores for the 3rd time in 5 games against Dallas. And it's a turnaround shot in the high slot. Matthews and Marner get the assist on the Nylander goal. Robertson's goal is unassisted, and it goes from 2-1 Stars to 3-2 Toronto Maple Leafs. I couldn't tell if there was a deflection or just a screen on Jake, because Jake looked like he started to go on the Robertson goal to one side, and it changed, and he just kind of put his hands up. He did that, I was tracking it this way and it moved or something. Maybe he just didn't see it.
I watched it a few times.
What'd you see?
All I wrote down was bad goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wrote that down 3 times tonight. Jake was off on a couple goals late. He wasn't him. But yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought it was a goal that needed to be saved. There were a couple of goals that, like, I think on that particular goal, it turned over in the defensive zone for the Stars, and it's the one Marchment kind of skated by. The puck turns over and Marchment can't get it. But what had happened on a couple different plays is we got guys taken off out of the zone before they even get the puck, and that's usually, you got to make sure. Typically, I mean, they send guys out of the zone all the time and catch guys, but when it's kind of a 50-50, you got to hang in there and make sure that you know what you're doing in there.
There were a couple of times earlier in the game, and you and I were watching some of the clips where they were assuming that the puck was getting out, and so even the defenders were getting forward and then getting caught because it got kept at the blue line, and then they are in trouble and chasing as it goes back toward the Stars net.
And that's the problem at times and again, you talk about the blue lines all the time and just 5 feet inside there. And if it's yours, you need it to be out. And if it's at the offensive one, you need it to be in, because especially on this team, because you have guys driving north and you got defensemen that are moving up on the play. And if it doesn't get all the way in deep, there's a turnover, you're usually going to catch someone.
Well, it didn't get better for Dallas, because the next chance after those 2 quick goals was Auston Matthews, a little Deacon shot from the low right side. Again, it was a high danger chance. Oettinger made a big save on that, but it was more disappointing that it felt like the Stars were kind of shell-shocked.
They were.
After being in complete control.
Coming out of the first period, they were in control again. That's why I question what was the conversation in between the first and second. They come out okay, and then all of a sudden it falls apart for them. But, and again, and Jake is going to be the first one tonight. We're going to probably hear something. He's going to say that game's going to be on him.
And it's fine to take the accountability, but it's not just on him. And yet you need a couple of those saves. Maybe this one, after a Stars power play where they managed a couple of chances but nothing really dangerous, Luds, you mentioned this guy in the pregame show. Bobby McMahon scores from the left circle on a wrist shot that beats Oettinger on the glove side across his body. And suddenly at 11:01 of the second, Dallas is down by 2. And it's 4-2, and they're kind of treading water a little bit.
That's the blue line. That's the defensive blue line where pucks got to make sure they're out. And that was Rupe Hintz trying to send it over to the right wing side, and that's where it gets picked off. I didn't write bad goal down on that one. I just wrote down can't go in.
Yeah,
that can't go in from there.
Well, I don't think it was a great goal. I think you from the circle, you should make that save.
100%.
Yeah,
and there was no traffic.
Yeah. Well, then Matthews had another 2 chances. He had a wrister in the slot, got his own rebound, and he did a little bump backhand. Not a lot on it from a very, very tight angle, and it just dribbles into the crease behind Oettinger. Jamie Benn was very nonchalant because he knew he was there, and he cleared it off the goal line. That could have gone in, but he was I think he was pretty aware that nobody was close to him.
Had enough time in there.
He took a second to get that puck. He didn't just kind of grab it and panic and clear it.
Kind of like we do. Yeah, we're the panic guys. No, these guys, they know what's around them before those pucks get into those areas anyways.
So the period comes to an end after 2. The Leafs have a 4-2 lead, and that would be it for Ottinger's night as he gets pulled and Casey DeSmith is in. It's the second time this year that he's been lifted, but the first time in between periods. Because remember, in Winnipeg, they had that bad game, and DeSmith came in. It's 7 straight starts for Jake Oettinger. Is there anything about fatigue?
I knew you were going to ask that.
No. It's a question because a lot of people brought it up on Twitter tonight. Is it have anything to do with that, or is it more that he had to wait so long between shots, especially after the first period? Jake had very little action, very little to do, and it's not easy for a goalie to stand there, do nothing, and all of a sudden face a high-danger chance like he did at a couple of those moments.
Yeah, I don't buy any of that. Jake's a great goaltender. We know that. He just had an off night.
Yep.
That's all it is. You know what? They have a way, the good goaltenders, and you'll hear about it. And we've asked goaltenders before, like, man, when everything's going on down at the other end, how do you stay in it? And they find little ways to stay in it. And we always know that the first one that comes down at them is the biggest one, because you don't want to stand there and have that one go in. But they have their ways. He had, 4 shots? Is that what he had in the first period?
4 shots on goal.
That's all he had in the first
Leafs,
period. And so it slowly kind of got around to him. But I think he found a way. It was an off night for him. That's all there is to it.
So the Stars bring in Casey DeSmith, and the very first shot he faces is Max Domi from the right circle all alone. And welcome to the game. He makes a great save. Maybe don't give a high danger chance on the first time for a goalie coming in.
Well, you want to get him in there right away. I mean, it's not like he came in the middle of the period. He came in. I actually thought, I was sitting up there with John, and as soon as at the end of the second, with the 4 minutes left, I said, get him out now. And they didn't, which is fine. And
they don't like bringing the goalie in cold if they can help it.
And I don't know if sometimes it's a little embarrassing for your first, for your big guy
to come out
there.
In front of everybody.
Yeah, and so, it was a good way to slide him in there. And so and you're right, because Casey then knows that he's going in. He's got 15 minutes or so to do a stretching and whatever he needs to do.
And I think it's really hard since the league doesn't allow for warm-up during play for a goalie to be sitting on the stool for.
Remember when they used to do that?
I do.
Yeah, they give us like 10 pucks or something like that. You can actually warm them up a little bit. Yeah,
it was a long time ago, but it was.
Come on,
it makes
don't make
sense,
it sound like it was that
right?
long ago. Well, and by the way, I was never the guy warming them up.
No. So, side note, a buddy of mine who played in the ECHL, was coaching in the UHL, and did some broadcasts with me way back in the day. Said there's 2 kind of guys. He goes, there's the guys that drop the gloves and get involved in things, and there's the guys that go around picking them up and giving them back. And I always laughed about that.
That's true.
You said you're never the one that shoots. And the first thought I was, you probably weren't the one picking up gloves either.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I would have missed the net if I was warming them guys up. Yeah, no, not me.
So you go into that third and you get that chance from Domi, and then later they had a 2-on-1. Miro Heiskanen, great play by Colin Blackwell. Zips a pass across. Miro, it's a little behind him. Wall makes a great save, but he does kind of shoot it into the glove. You got to give the goalie credit for putting that glove up in that position. But as a shooter, it has to be frustrating when you see that much open net and you shoot it right into the goalie's catching.
Yeah, and you're right. And how fast Miro was moving all the time.
Yeah.
And he gets it in there that close to and it's behind him a little bit. He's got to be able to control it. That was somewhere around the 8 and 9 minute marks, I think, left in the game. And so that would have been a nice time. give them plenty of time to put a little more pressure on.
And it might have puckered up the Leafs a little bit, that nervy, we're holding on to a lead against a team that barely loses at home. And look, if you look at the records, Toronto and Dallas are very much the same. Amazing at home. 1-2 in the league at home. Not so good. Tied in the road until tonight because Toronto got the win. But they're very similar. And the Leafs' road record is very pedestrian, as like the Stars, and they are almost unbeatable up at Scotiabank Arena. Stars get a power play. Buddy, you're thinking at this point because John Tavares was called for elbowing. This was at 11:42, so still plenty of time left. Not only did they not get a lot on the power play, they gave up a shorthanded partial breakaway to Steven Lorentz. Casey DeSmith with another really good save.
Yep, he did well.
But they had to go 6-on-5 pretty early. Jamie got a great chance from the top of the crease. Wall made that save. They did get a goal, though, and it was Colin Blackwell. I would say his just rewards for a heck of an effort tonight as he takes one off the skate and pokes it in at the side of the net. They get a chance to, with just over, I think it was 2:16 left in regulation, to make it interesting. And Colin Blackwell was good all night.
Yeah, good job by the coaching staff, though, recognizing as the game goes along who are the most active and the guys most visible getting things done. And you know what? Like at that time, you're wondering, again, even though they're having good games, but you're wondering, is it because other guys are not feeling well and, down on energy and these are the best options? But Blackwell actually deserved to be out there, and so did Sam Steele at the same time.
And he was out there, and you could see that because remember, the top guys were out to start that 6-on-5, and it went for a while, and you can't play them for 4 or 5 minutes because they'd just become ineffective with fatigue. So those guys get a goal. They trot out another group, and William Nylander gets his second of the night and hits the 20-goal mark on the season with a pretty easy goal. He makes it look effortless.
20 goals with 32 games now? That might have been their 32nd game tonight. So
game number 32 for the Leafs tonight.
Yeah. He's an electrifying player.
He's so good. And there's times where he makes it look like he's not really trying that hard, but he's really, really good. Excellent player. And that was it. Game was over. Stars lose, and they drop a game at home, which they haven't done a lot of this year. But pretty close game, but that just shows, we talked about this a bunch. When you find yourself chasing hockey, it is a recipe for disaster because in the end, you're going to run out of time more often than not. But it does feel, Luds, as though unlike last year where Dallas was really good at rallying in games, they have not found a way when they do fall behind like this as much. Now, I know they got one 6-on-5 goal and made it kind of interesting, but they just haven't had one of those signature multi-goal comeback wins in the third period.
I don't think any of this kind of stuff is going to be brought up tonight by the coaches when they have their pressers. This is going to be more about how low they are on juice because of the guys being sick and
this illness.
I just think that because they're going to say, you know what, like look at our first period. We had some gas in the tank in the first period, and then guys just started running short, and we're running short on players and we're running short on health right now.
No Harley, no Lundqvist. You wonder which guys that were playing tonight weren't playing fully healthy because of this virus that's going through the team. Not trying to make excuses, but it is a factor.
Yeah, for sure.
So the stat lines to finish this one, Joseph Woll was good again. 41 shots faced. He stopped 38. Gets the victory. He is up to 9 wins in 13 games this year. So he's been really, really good. And Jake Oettinger picked up his 8th loss of the season in 24 appearances. Still has the most wins, I think it's tied for second most wins in the season with 16. But Ottinger's numbers tonight, 4 goals on only 12 shots faced.
Did we get any news or updates on Marchment? He left the game, right?
He left.
He played about 10 minutes.
He left, came back, and then in the third period he left again. So we'll have to talk to Sam and see if he has something to say on that.
I would think he's a little under the weather too.
Under the weather, or maybe there was more to that cross-check than you give him credit for, or who knows. But that's where we're at through tonight's hockey game. They have another one against the Rangers, and we'll talk about that. But coming up next, your chats, your super chats. A little bit later, we'll talk with Sam over at the AAC here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. All right, let's talk about Sleeper. Best fantasy league platform out there. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. It's too late to pick from tonight's NHL slate, But the Boston Bruins visit the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night. I wonder who might have suggested that one. Let's take Leon Draisaitl to score more than 0.5 goals. More than double your money. Sorry, John. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS STARS to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Now let's talk about Saturday Neon. Started by two college friends / buddies, if you don't prefer one or the other. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out the new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. They have Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State signs. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and you love. Plus, LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying the sign for years to come. It's super easy to install using the provided hardware or with 3M command strips, and they're low voltage, so you don't get hot and are always safe to touch. Perfect gift for this upcoming season. Head on over to SaturdayNeon.com to use the code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. All right, let us do the chats. Do we have any super chats to start tonight, John?
No, the Stars lost, so our people don't like to send in the super chats on the off nights. Is the trend that I'm seeing. There is one I'd like to point out to you.
On us.
One I'd like to point out to you right away, though, Owen.
Go right ahead.
From Jason. Owen with the Tron pants. Bold choice. Definitely not the first time you've worn those pants, but...
Not the first time I've worn this suit, but the jacket is over there because unlike at the AAC during Stars hockey games where we dress up with a suit and tie, we're a little bit more casual here at DLLS. So take the tie off, roll the sleeves, but you still get a chance to see the suit pants. I was, you remember Rob Shickley, former Stars PR guy, guru?
Chatting with his sister tonight.
I saw Rob in the press box on the elevator way out. So I was right before the scooter video, just minutes before that. And he made the comment, he liked the suit, said, reminded him of something Mark Followell likes to wear, the Mavs TV play-by-play guy. He likes a lot of the checked pattern plaid suits.
Well, it goes with the comment certainly goes with the Tron theme. And I just think if anybody missed it, we might as well play it one more time for them.
Yeah, I think so.
Owen in transit on the scooter earlier.
Almost coming in the studio, by the way. Here we go. Zipping along. Notice the safety of my little headlight? Oh, this is Owen in reverse.
Should we start drawing? Should we do a tail of the tape on this one? Should we start drawing arrows and stuff?
As you can see,
I just want it over with.
Gotta love it.
Delete, delete, delete.
Oh, here's a super chat. Hold on. Where's my bing bong at?
Bing bong.
We do have one from Ardell. The Dallas fourth line. Oh, by the way, Ludwig and Blackwell. Dallas fourth line continues to be consistently good. Ardell, I love the fact that you gave us a super chat, but I'm a little disappointed that you didn't immediately jump on the fact, and I tweeted this tonight, Man of Steel scores the first goal of the game. Where's the graphic?
It's coming.
There he is.
He's getting tired. He played a lot tonight.
He did.
It's hard for him to get up on the screen.
So Sam Steele played
16:57,
so just about 17 minutes. And I went and looked at his Stars career. That's near the top of it because 17:01 Stars at Bruins from last year, John, in Boston, February 19th of 2024. So last season, he played 17:01. So 4 seconds more than tonight. But this was one of his higher use games. And you saw why, Luds. But there is maybe another that you talked about the flu-like stuff. There may be something to that.
Well, I think what these guys did is they've shown to the coaches that when you give us more minutes, we can maybe do a little bit more with it. So these are the kind of games that those guys build on. And I think what you're learning is that it doesn't have to be in the third period. It could be in the second period at some point. If you don't have one of your other top three lines that are going, you can go out there and you can double shift these guys. And not only do they deserve it, and sometimes it's a way to get whatever line is getting shortchanged, finding a way to get them going again.
I'd just like to point out really quickly, and I want to connect with what you just said, but Ardell is going to get John going here because of Inside Out.
Yeah,
Ardell said, I just watched Inside Out. You didn't warn me I was going to weep like a little kid with a skinned knee.
Oh, it's one of the, and I mean, this sound in particular is
Bing bong.
kind of a reference to possibly one of the saddest moments in film history. It's kind of like if you've seen that movie and you hear us
Bing
playing
bong.
this, like your mind goes to one place and it's not really a happy place.
I don't know what we're talking
The
about
imaginary friend elephant character.
Are you going to spoil it?
Actually,
I've never heard
Are you
of
going to
this.
spoil it? I'm just making sure you weren't going to spoil it.
Should we? I mean,
No, we should not spoil it.
It's not new. Are we going to make him
Do
watch?
you think I'm ever going to watch something
No,
like
no,
this?
not for Lutz,
Is this
but
a
for the
cartoon
audience.
movie?
When
We
was
could-
Inside Out released?
15 or 16, I think. Yeah, but
Is this a cartoon movie or something?
It's an animated movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a spin-off
not
of
a-
Ren and
not a
Stimpy.
chance.
It's not. A
It's
spin-off.
close to animation. The closest I got to animation is Beavis and Butthead. That's it.
Okay, I won't spoil it, but there is a very, very sad moment where somebody sacrifices for the betterment of the rest of the story.
Can you give me one of these, Luds? If you
He wants to
you
do
know
the
Beavis and Butthead?
what is that?
What
The
is that?
cornholio.
Yeah. I am Cornholio.
We have another Bing Bong, by the way, John.
Oh, we do? Hold
We
on.
do.
Sorry, I was too busy doing my best
were.
Beavis impression.
It was a good one.
Where
You
are
didn't
we?
do the voice though.
I can do the voice. You want me to do the voice?
Maybe later.
Well, some of it's inappropriate for
It's
the fast
extremely-
channel, so I don't know how
Yes.
much I could say.
Bing bong.
So John's still over there. There we go. Now we have a DeSmith and Stanley Cup year from T Farmer. Thank you very much. Burn the tape chat is for no one. He doesn't want to talk about burn the tape. He wants lessons, Luds. He wants teachable moments. What are teachable moments from tonight's game?
There aren't any. These guys are sick. They're under the weather. They might have emptied their tank in the first period. So and again, Jake Oettinger wasn't great tonight, and that very, very few times do we ever say that. It just wasn't. It wasn't his night either. And you know what? Maybe Jake is feeling something too. I mean,
I wouldn't
Casey
be
had
surprised.
something, didn't he?
Yeah, Casey missed. Remember, he missed a
Yeah.
practice, and they had to call Magnus Helberg
Yeah.
to back up Oettinger on Saturday.
Don't we have any sound from the head coach yet? Isn't that how it works?
No,
around
we're gonna
there?
have to talk to Sam here in a second. But he says Luds' wife. We met Kim last night at our DLS
Why is
Christmas party.
Sam? Why
'Cause
is Sam
he's
tweeting in
He's
or whatever?
in.
It's
He's in
called?
the chat. They both Kim and Sam agreed that you looked like Beavis last night at the Christmas party.
I looked like Beavis.
That's you
Who-
guys.
What do you mean?
You were there for that conversation.
No, I wasn't.
You were literally standing there and you laughed about
Was it over by the Rugged Road
it.
Cooler?
It was over by the.
If it was over by the Rugged Road Cooler, I'll believe you then.
It was. It was
Okay,
behind
was this
the
late
couch
in the
over here.
evening or
It was
early?
later in the evening.
Okay.
It was after the White Elephant gift exchange.
I think somebody
by the-
slipped me some white elephant
By the way,
powder.
Luddy was very entertaining as part of that as well. What is the signed baseball behind Luds? Oh, up there. I feel like somebody planted that. There is a signed baseball behind you, Luds.
Yeah, want to explain what that is to the people, Luds?
Well, so I didn't know what a white elephant party was.
We call
So-
it a Yankee swap where I'm
Okay,
from.
so I was informed what it is, and you can bring whatever you want. So I had this baseball laying around that I got a long time ago, and it's autographed. And so I figured the dude was a Hall of Famer, and his name is Brett Tomko. So I wrapped it up, and lo and behold, John's the one that picked it. And then he actually didn't even want to trade it. He thought it might be worth something, I guess, and he got right on the
Well, I missed the explanation of the rules because every single white elephant / Yankee swap I've been involved in, the rules, no one's consistent on the rules. So I just kind of figured
Right.
once you picked a gift, you had to keep it, which is usually the way I have played it. But I got it. I was like, cool, signed baseball. Looked it up, couldn't make a dime off it. So
I thought you said it was up to
directly to our
$26.
Well, no, $26 is what I was because it was a $25 limit. I was trying to at least
Oh, I
get a
got it.
profit on.
Well,
on,
anyway,
on the
I
the
don't
White
know,
Christmas,
Brett. If you're out there,
whatever it is.
I found out last night you played for 14 teams and you were a Texas Ranger. So
14
I think
teams,
you're worth
wow.
it.
Enough to give it away at White Elephant Day.
Yeah, I just thought I thought it would be a nice.
It
gift
was
for
fun.
Someone. I
Um,
thought Radigan would take it, being a baseball guy.
He didn't.
Well, it was
he didn't
wrapped.
He didn't
participate.
even-
Yeah,
he
they-
didn't bring
they-
a-
They didn't bring a gift.
Cheapskate.
I know. You should really chirp him on that.
we'll get on him.
I also like, just quickly before we get back to the chat, producer John had one of the funnier gifts, and it went to the perfect person. John, would you like to reveal?
Yeah, I don't know if they've brought it up yet on the Mavs show. I know it will be brought up, and they're deciding what they're going to do with it. But I framed a photo of Jason Tatum hoisting whatever the name of the NBA trophy is, which they beat the Mavs for, and I put KG's name right on that, which I know is you're not supposed to do in that. It's supposed to be one for all, but I knew he would be way too intrigued to not take it. And there is a video somewhere that we'll have to unveil at some point. But KG opened it and he said, I believe the quote was, "Oh, somebody's trying to piss me off right now, huh?"
And he got it. By the way, it's called the Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy, which is the NBA title.
Well,
I
prefer Lord Stanley's Cup.
We got to applaud Ben. Didn't he bring like a container of Fireball? I mean, I've never seen a bottle that big.
Was that Ben's, that big giant? It was it was one of those almost like novelty champagne bottles.
It looked like a genie was going to come out of it.
It was huge, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Ben that got that.
Did he get it? Or that he brought that?
No, he brought it.
No, that was our sales head, McCall, got that, which was the second item that was taken from her. Because I took the Baileys from McCall, and then Joe Hoyt took the Baileys from me.
And then he got the baseball.
And then McCall took the Fireball again. And then I think Jeff Kavanaugh took the Fireball.
McCall had 4 items.
No wonder
taken
Jeff
from
couldn't
her.
speak English when he left here.
Because he had a gallon of Fireball.
Yeah.
At least. Let's see. Anything else that we want to hit in the chat tonight? The guys are having a lot of fun with you. I see Ardell, I knew you were going to jump on the name of the Larry O'Brien trophy. He was very quick to catch that.
I was going to say, Jacob did ask about Chris Tanev. I don't know if you guys have hit on him.
There's no way somebody could have spotted that baseball back there. You set this up, John.
No,
I have no idea what you're talking about. Get in the chat and prove it. You don't know how to.
No, I don't know how to.
I like the one from very early. Brian Sweet writes, I hope Jason Robertson puts Cole in Nick Robertson's stocking, LOL.
I think he can afford to put a little more Cole in it.
Nick Robertson has scored 3 goals in 5 games in his career as a Leaf against the Stars, against his brother, and he is 5-0 now. Jason has not won because the Stars have played, I think actually the first game Robo played against Toronto, they won. But they've lost 7 in a row.
And I think Nick just signed a 1-year deal this year, I believe.
I'll look it up.
I think he was kind of out there and kind of going back and forth, and then ultimately I think they agreed on a 1-year prove-it-to-me kind of deal.
He is on 1 of 1. Yep, he will be an RFA with arbitration rights at age 23 at the end of this year. You know, it was interesting. At the beginning of the year, there was talks of maybe looking to trade him as an unsigned RFA because they weren't sure if they were going to keep him or not. So we talked about that in one of our early shows. Would you go out and invest some sort of value capital, whether it's draft picks or prospects, to go get Nick Robertson? Right now, his speed, I wouldn't mind having him.
The thing is where do you plunk him in? I mean, if your fourth line is playing the way their fourth line is playing right now, I don't know where, does he fit in the top 9 right now on this team?
I mean, it's one of those things where you keep saying, well, you could always move Dodonov down, but he's been really good.
He's just such a nice player.
Isn't he?
I use that word nice about him. I just think he's a guy that can fit in wherever you're going to put him. He seems to fit in nicely.
Let's see. A lot of people talking about what you said, Luds. Otter was not very good tonight. One of the worst.
And again, this is not a derogatory moment. And again, we don't know if he's feeling some of the things that the rest of the players are. The greatest goalies in the world have had off nights, and this is one of them. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys are going to have bad games. So, Lane said he wasn't mad at Otter. He's allowed some stinkers. Wishes our offense could have pulled through for him. That's the kind of thing I like, that response of, on a night where your goalie lets in a couple bad ones.
Well,
what if your power play gets one?
Yeah, but the problem with that is the guy at the other end had something to say about it.
And he was good.
He
Joseph
was great.
Wall. Yeah. Really, really good. Let's see.
Speaking of power play.
Ardell wrote, Toronto is as physical as hell. There were a lot of hits. That fourth line, the Reeves line, they were really bringing the body, although I don't think they did a lot offensively.
I looked at it at the end of the first, and I thought, well, they out-hit Dallas. I think it was like 15-3. I'm not even 100% sure. But Dallas had the puck a lot. You know what I'm saying? So generally that tells you something too. You know, if a team is really out hitting another team, but Dallas is not a physical team. I think I want to say that they're the second from the bottom. They're number 31 when it comes to hits. And again, they have the puck a lot, you know, and they're not built that way. So now maybe with, you know, Bischel here and the fourth line guys, but the fourth line guys are not big players either. They're quicker and they're more the kind of little nasty little flies that kind of bug everybody on the other side of the bench there.
Matto writes in, the more I see that hit on Bork, the more it pisses me off that nothing was called. You said you thought it was pretty clean.
I did not think. I mean, what would be called on it? It wasn't charging.
Boarding?
Come on.
Well, no, you
were
asked
a
me
little
what would be
soft here.
called.
I don't know why you call boarding. Pacioretty was skating with him kind of to start with. He didn't come from a distance. It was just a bigger man hitting another guy, and Bork wasn't really prepared for it. He had it, and then he kind of turned, and I think he was almost looked like he was on 1.5 legs, you know, and so he's off balance. And I don't think there was anything. I just think it's a good hockey hit.
Jacob wrote, freaking Chris Tanev and his incredible defending too. LMAO. There were a couple times where Tanev got behind and chasing guys. You know, obviously Tanev is a great player, but he's not prepared to defend in space one-on-one with Rope hits.
He's always leaning forward. Tanev kind of wants to meet you. It's not so much about receiving a lot of things. And sometimes, and he's a good skater. I mean, what is he now? 33, 34? Somewhere in that neighborhood. So he's a great skater. I mean, he'd be a great addition to any team, especially here.
We'd take him back.
Yeah, but he does lean forward. And so if you're playing against a couple of guys like a Hintz and guys like that, who he should know, it can get you in trouble.
Chris Tanev, just because you asked, is 34.
Yeah, because I think he signed to like 30. He signed to 40.
He will be 35 in 2 days.
So he's going to be 40, 41 when that contract is over.
Yes, but he will be 35 on Friday. Yeah. Good player, though. Thank you, guys.
He won't be playing when he's 41.
You don't think?
No.
Thank you, everybody, for the chat, super chats, the interaction. We love it. We have to move on because up next, let's get the Samando on. Commando Sam here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show. But first, let's talk about the Die Hard program. Look, nothing is better than signing up to be a Die Hard to show your support for DLLS, for the Stars Pod, for the Cowboys, Mavs, Rangers, all of it. Because not only do you help us grow, but you also get great perks for it. Things like, access to all the Die Hard level premium written content on the alldlls.com website. Sam, Sean, Tim Cato, Mark Stein, on and on and on. Jeff Wilson with the Rangers, obviously Clarence and Joe with the Cowboys. Great writing, really top-notch writers from around DFW. Look, these aren't guys just plucked off the street. These are guys with a history of covering these teams in Dallas. So you know that you're going to get great stuff. Plus, you'll also get great merchandise. If you get an opportunity, you get discounts on merch, and you can get a free t-shirt with your DLS Die Hard subscription. Once a year, you get a code. You can pick the shirt, anything of the t-shirts on the DLS site. And that is a nice added bonus when you become a member. Plus, you can also get access to the members only the Discord, which is not just Stars related. They have channels for each. Plus, I know John gets into movie talk a lot. So if you'd like to get into more spoiler-free Inside Out debates, or whether you like certain Star Wars or Star Trek movies, the Discord's a great place for that, isn't it, John?
It is, and also apparently our group text is today because Sean and I were very close to blows over a Star Wars argument during the Stars group text, as Sam was attempting to send us vital information, which we ignored.
Yes,
so.
completely. Actually, you guys remonstrated him for actually trying to interrupt a more important
Sean was very upset. You don't interrupt two grown men arguing about their rankings of Star Wars movies.
in the middle of a hockey game.
Yep.
All right. Well, speaking of Sam, let's go to him now. He's been waiting patiently in the chat, and there he is. He does the Chris Collinsworth slide in and welcomes us to the post-game show from the AAC. Sam, lots to get to tonight. What's the reaction from Pete DeBoer and the players, first and foremost, about the way the game was played?
Yeah, it is interesting. The flu was mentioned by everybody, but quickly quickly they all said we don't want to use it as an excuse. And I think that's great. You know, that's the hockey mentality. We need to find a way no matter what. But it's also an excuse, right? They're without Thomas Harley for 2 straight games. They're missing Nils Lundqvist. They're calling guys up. It looked like half the forwards were playing with half a tank or less of gas. They're forcing Sam Steele and Colin Blackwell to be their best players, who were great tonight. It's a lot, and they've won 2 out of 3 games while dealing with it. So sometimes these games happen, and that's what Matthew Shane said. He said it's a tough league, you know, whether it's a hot goalie or team that's going through it, a team that can't score. These games happen, and these ugly types of losses are ones that you just got to accept and you got to move forward. So just one of those games, I think, is the overall message, and not a fun one tonight.
Sam, are you wearing a hazmat suit when you go in there by any chance?
No, but firing down the vitamin C as much as possible, because I mean each player you talk to sounds like they are losing their voice with every question you ask. So it's a tough room to be in right now.
Might I suggest a lot of hand sanitizer usage tonight?
A drink.
Smart.
Yeah, just chug a couple. Maybe take a bath in it.
I get too drunk if I drink hand sanitizer, buds.
It is a lot of alcohol, but not usually the correct kind. So I would not suggest you drink any of that. We saw Mason Marchment go in and out of the Stars bench a couple of times. Once in the, I want to say in the second period, and then he came back and then again left in the third. Do we have any update on him at all?
Yeah, not really. Pete just said dealing with something, and we'll find out more tomorrow. I don't even know if we'll find out more tomorrow, because the team is taking tomorrow off as expected with this schedule so far. The 7-day schedule they had released has turned into optional skates and days off as we expect with what's going on and how much hockey they're playing. But yeah, no update other than he's dealing with something. Pete was pretty quick tonight. It was understandably a little bit of frustration, and they were quick to get out of there. But one thing I thought was really interesting that Pete talked about was Taylor Baird was asking about scoring, because when you look at the last 5, 6, 7 games, other than that game against Calgary, it's a lot of 2s and 3s that they're scoring, right? And it's not a lot more than that. You don't win a lot of games scoring 2 goals in this league. If you look at the stats, the Stars are still pretty well off up there with 5-on-5 scoring, so it's not something to worry about. But Pete did mention our friend Joe Pavelski retiring, and then also Tyler Seguin being out of the lineup. And he said, look, that's 60, 65 goals that we have out of our lineup. And again, not an excuse. We need guys to step up. And he mentioned guys like Robo and Hintz that are expected to score, but he also mentioned the guys that we just need to chip in. And that's the Blackwell and Steele we saw tonight. That's the Maverick Borks. The Stankoven needs to get one to go for him. And someone's got to help step up. And that's kind of the theme around this team right now is, look, we got a lot going on. We're obviously not scoring a ton of goals. We're still winning some games. It's not like we're 0-5 in the last 5 here, but we need a few guys to step up. We need to score 1 or 2 more goals here, because it can't be that Jake Oettinger allows 1 or 2 goals that he likes back and the game is over just like that. It's just not, you're not going to win games because Jake Oettinger is going to have those games. He starts 7 in a row. Who knows if he's healthy, and one really bad goal can't be the whole difference in a game. And I think that's something that Pete's really looking from his team. And Matt Duchene mentioned as well. He said, look, we're paid to score goals, and we need to start doing it at a higher rate.
Sam, I want to get your opinion on your thoughts on Maverick tonight. He had the opportunity to play up there with Robo and Rupe, and what were your thoughts on his debut on the big line?
I thought he looked more confident as the game went on. I think he had that chance, I want to say, in the first period where he was wide open in the slot, and it kind of looked like a guy who wasn't very comfortable with his shooting. He just kind of threw it on net, right? He's not picking a corner. He's not making a move. He had time and space and just kind of threw it into the chest of the goalie. But as it went on a little bit more, as he got more responsibility, he got more confident. And I think that to me is the key for Maverick Bork. It's tough with a young guy because you can't always give him all the responsibility. You can't call a guy from the AHL and put him on your power play and put him on your penalty kill and play him 18 minutes. It's just not how it works. But the more Maverick Bork plays, the better he looks, I think. And he looked good on the forecheck to me. He looks like he gets more into the game as he plays more. He got some time on power play, played a penalty kill a lot, took that big hit from Pacioretty and got right back up and got right back in there. So I think trending upwards. Robert actually asked Pete what he thought about Maverick Bork tonight, and Pete just said, look, he worked hard, and then he walked off, and that was the end of the press conference. And I think the point of that is, we're getting to the point of the season here where these guys, Maverick Bork, some other guys, it needs to be more than just looking good. It needs to be more than just progressing. It needs to be results, and that's what Pete is clearly looking for from a lot of guys in the lineup.
We see a lot of times the coach kind of easing in. He did this with the power play. Early struggles this season, didn't criticize much, gave some reasons why we should be patient, and then we got closer to the 10-game mark, and he said, "Okay, that runway is run out." You have to kind of play both sides with young players, don't you?
Yeah, I think playing against Toronto, and they talked about a lot of guys being that, and I think it was a big game for Dallas and for some individuals too. You know what I mean? And again, but they've said it before. You mentioned a couple of guys that aren't on the lineup tonight, and then also you've got the third line, where you got a piece there. Now you've got Steele, and because again, if Blackwell, Steele, and Beck are going to be your best line in games, it's probably not going to be enough. But again, I think when everybody wakes up in the morning, you're going to say, hey, we know there's a lot of things going through the room right now and blah, blah, blah. And this is just one game of 82, and we get as much work as we can before we have to play our next game. We just got to make sure we win the next one, which they have an opportunity to win the next one.
Yeah, and I think the key here too is this game was ugly, but it wasn't ugly until midway through the second period when they had their push, and even then, I think the Stars controlled a lot of the game. The shots when they scored their first goal or second goal, I think the shots were 20-5, and then they scored the 2 goals on the 2 shots, and all of a sudden the game is completely flipped on its head. Pete said, and I asked Duchesne as well, or Steele as well, and what's the message after the second period? Because you're not going in there and saying we got to change things, we got to figure out a way. You feel like you should be winning that game, and Pete said we just need to get one, and he thought that Miro Heiskanen chance that Wall stopped was a big changing point in this game. He said if that goes in, I think we put this game into overtime and potentially come back and win it. So they did a lot in the third period, just didn't do enough. I think that's important. And what Luds, I heard you talking about with Oettinger, how this isn't a fire sale moment when someone has a tough game. It's not like that. I don't think it's like that with the team either. We don't want to make excuses for this team, but to put up the effort they did tonight, be the better team for a large part of this game with all the stuff they're going through, again, I give them credit.
If you're on the other team, if you're in the Toronto locker room after that game, you're sitting there going, thank God our goalie was that good tonight, and thank God that the other guy wasn't on his game tonight. So we're taking our 2 points and we're getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, because they're not that great of a road team this year. They have actually struggled. They were under 500. I believe they are now 500, 6-6-2 in 14 road games. And the other night against Washington, both goalies were fantastic. And the Stars found a way, partly because they got a power play goal, to beat Charlie Lindgren and the Caps. Oettinger was great, and they got the win. Tonight, goalie edge was clearly in favor of Toronto. Did anybody ask Pete any questions about the change of Oettinger to DeSmith? The reasoning behind it?
Yep, I asked him right at the end of the press conference, and he just said it was more so for Jake getting an extra period of rest. He said he's played a lot of hockey, which we know, we've talked about. He said not only was it to get Jake a little bit of rest, but get Casey in a game. He mentioned we're going to need Casey here soon. And like I said, I think Friday is a perfect chance for Casey to get in, especially after the way tonight went. And getting him in there, getting his feet wet a little bit so he gets to, it's not a huge difference. Your starting goalie is clearly struggling. It's not like taking him out is going to, you're giving up on this game. Casey was good. He made a couple key saves early on in that third period, but I think for Pete, it was like, let's get Casey in this game. Let's put Jake, get him an extra period of rest here on top of maybe a day or two of rest that he'll get before they go and play Utah on whatever that day that is, Monday. But it's also interesting to think, who knows if Jake's healthy. I've never seen Jake sitting with a big old winter beanie on when he's sitting in between the benches. He might be fighting it too. So I think any chance to give key guys rest is a good one, and that was the key for that in the third.
Thanks to everyone who joined on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod. Check out alldls.com. Okay, back to the show. Sam's clearly pointed out that he thinks Casey DeSmith is going to start against the Rangers. It would make sense. He gets he's been out for a bit. He was sick. He missed a couple of days, including a game. To give him 20 minutes, as a nice little tune-up before playing the Rangers. But Jake Oettinger has the most home wins in the league this year, and the New York Rangers are a reeling good team that is not playing well. Do you want to finish this homestand with Casey DeSmith as your starter or Jake Oettinger?
I think they're going to do that. Again, like Sam said, we don't know if he's got a little bit of this bug right now. And listen, in Pete's comments, he's not going to be like we are and sit up here and go, because I immediately after that last bad goal, I said, get him out right now.
This was in the second period.
Pete's not going to do that. He's not going to say that. You know what I mean? Because that's his guy. So he's putting it to the press and to, that's going to get reported. That's what we're doing. But the bottom line in his mind is he wasn't the same guy tonight. He had an off night. And for whatever reason, that's what it is. But again, there's been a lot of questions, and Pete even talked about it. Circumstances change a little bit when we're going to play him for his 7th game in a row. So, but Casey was sick and Casey wasn't feeling well. So things changed. And now he's got the opportunity to put Casey in there. And I would expect him to do that.
I would like to point out that we are 39 subscribers on our DLLS YouTube channel from 12,000, which is a nice round number. So if you want to help out.
And we are staying on the air until we hit that number tonight.
And I'm going home without you.
So does the 12,000 person get some kind of a gift or something? Wouldn't that be?
No.
Be hard to track that.
Anyone could
Why can't you sit there and stay online and I don't know how you're tracking it. If we're 39 away.
I mean, I've got a live tracker, but it doesn't say, it doesn't give me like an IP address.
Just sit there and watch it until we hit 12,000. Baseball for the 12,000.
That's what you get paid for. We just had a meeting about that.
Subscriber.
No, I get paid for the placement of this producer cam right now. So square and perfectly in not the middle of the screen.
Nicely framed. I think now's the time to do your Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. Pick up your favorite bottle at the closest goody liquor store.
Joseph Wall, because of that save on Miro Heiskanen with 8 or 9 minutes, and I think that is the moment. I think things could have changed and a little momentum swing, but he said no.
I would almost argue and say that was a huge moment to keep the Stars from a comeback, but those 2 goals in 16 seconds to go from 2-1 down to 3-2 up, I thought that took all the air out of the Stars' sails.
Well, that's more than one moment, though. Moment. The word moment is singular.
That's right. It's a double moment.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
For every bottle of single barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas. For those who went before, stop into your closest goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. As I giggle over the fact that
one of you guys said that to me in the past.
Luddy got me on a semantics argument when usually we pick him apart.
Yes.
So we have to applaud, tip our caps and say, you know what?
I'm paying attention.
You got one on that one.
All right.
So point for Luds. Sam?
Yes.
Are you still with us?
Yes.
Would you care to give us your man of the match tonight?
Yes, Sam Steele. I think that he gave this team a chance to win tonight. I don't think that they are even at 5-3 if he doesn't play as well as he did. Him and Blackwell were excellent, but I'm going to give it to Steele.
Luds?
What I said last time. Joseph Wall.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he face? 41 shots tonight?
41 shots. No, you know what?
I think it went down to 39.
Our friends over at the off-ice officials took 2 away, so it's now 3 goals against on 39. 36 of 39 is still very, very good.
Okay, well, the hell with Joseph Wall then. I'll go with Craig Berube. Had his birthday 2 days ago, 59 years old. Turning the Maple Leafs fire.
Are they going to be after?
He needs some milk.
We've seen.
Wow, that's so many.
We've seen the Leafs in years before. We've watched games this year, but now we've seen them in person. Anything different about your impressions of Craig Berube's team now that you've seen them against the Stars?
they're a little bit tighter, and they don't play as loose. I mean, there's different structure to their game. They were leaning forward for the last few years. I mean, that's the way. And I think what Berube has done is he's taught some accountability lessons to some of the big players. You know what I mean? Like they're not necessarily all out there to see how many points they can get tonight. They're going to win the hockey game and hopefully grab a couple extra points because they're in a market where they're sick and tired of hearing people, give it to them year after year because they don't make it past the first round. So, Sam?
Yeah, 100%. I think we mentioned in the pregame that you can see the difference when you watch this team, and it's a structural difference that can literally make this team a much harder team to play against in the playoffs. And I think that's what you're seeing, and you're seeing it from some of their guys that aren't necessarily racking up the points as much. Mitch Marner is about the only guy that's blowing away the competition with points, and that's probably what they want to see. They don't care if 4 of their guys are in the top 10 of scoring anymore. They want to win games and put themselves in a spot to play the same way in the playoffs.
So I agree with Luds. My man of the match is Joseph Wall. End of story. But an honorable mention for me, we talked about Steele already. I thought Blackwell was great, but it's Evgeny Dodonov. Goal, assist, and he was +2 on a night where the Toronto Maple Leafs scored 5 times.
You know who else? Esa Lindell, plus player tonight.
Yep,
Miro
+1.
And Miro Heiskanen, +2. And all the other defensemen, I believe, are minus.
A lot of minuses.
And they-
But again,
and they
it's just
played, like,
impressive.
half the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And they're out there half the game, and they still come out on the
Yeah.
plus side.
Miro's 10 seconds shy of 30 tonight, 30 minutes.
Yep.
Essa played 20, 38. A light night for Essa after playing 30.
Apparently the Finns don't get the flu. Hopefully
They
not.
have a thing about that. Knock on wood. And Robe played 17 plus minutes, so good on them. Any final thoughts? We have a show tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Oh,
Sean will be back
1 o'clock?
1 p.m. A little earlier than usual by a little hour, which means you get to go
beat the
home
traffic.
or beat the traffic. Maybe I have my fingers crossed for that. We have special guests, Stephen Meserve, who is the editor and founder of 100 Degree Hockey that covers the Texas Stars since their inception in 2009. Will join us, so we're going to talk about some of the Stars prospects playing down in Cedar Park. Sean will be with us. Sam will maybe be with us if we can keep his attention long enough. And of course, Letty and I will be
seeing
here.
if Texas won or not.
We're going to be in the podcast
ADD
room
too.
tomorrow.
We're going to be where?
Podcast room. Studio 2 over there.
Oh, that's good. Flip-flops. Barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some shorts. Is it going to be
pants.
warm tomorrow?
No
I don't know.
I
pants.
like that.
No
All
pants,
right,
baby.
so I think that's a good way to end it. Like I said, try to tell your friends. Like the biggest thing to help us, aside from becoming a diehard and watching and tuning in and liking and subscribing, is to tell your Stars-loving friends or even your Stars casuals about our show. Because I kid you not, even today, I had a conversation with a Stars fan who asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I don't work for the Stars anymore. I work for DLS. What's DLLS? So I explained it like we've done many times. And she said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll have to check that out. Guess what? A lot of people still don't know who we are, what we do. And I'm pretty sure that if you do, you'll like what we have to offer, right?
I hope so.
That's a great sales line right there, Lud.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
That
I need
still
a
has
Miller
nothing to do
Lite.
with it. There it is. That's because, was that Lane in the chat asked for that?
No, I just did that. That was my own
do it again.
volition.
I need a Miller Lite. Oh, I didn't hear that, but that's right. As a matter of fact, it is 10:30 on the dot.
Guess what?
That's Miller time.
It's time to end. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock live on YouTube and all the audio platforms right afterwards. For Sam, for Craig, for John, I'm Owen. So long, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.